Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to your favorite English bulletin, The News. We're broadcasting live from TVT studios here in Lomé. Here are the headlines. The Council of Ministers met this Wednesday, February 25, in Lomé under the chairmanship of His Excellency For Esezimna Singbe, President of the Council. Several texts were examined relating to cultural heritage, the judiciary, and financial inclusion. We'll bring you more shortly. With the rise of bloggers and online content creators, distinguishing trained journalists from content producers has become a growing challenge, and that is why the HAC is on a mission to remind media professionals that accreditation and having a press card remain essential safeguards of credibility. Stay with us, we'll bring you all the details shortly. And yes, it is always a pleasure to have you join us. Meeting this Wednesday, the Council of Ministers adopted a sweeping reform to modernize heritage laws and pave the way for the restitution of thousands of Togolese artifacts held abroad. The meeting also promoted magistrates, reviewed inclusive finance performance, and authorized a committee for the restitution of artifacts while reaffirming commitment to peaceful maritime boundary talks with Ghana. Kwesi Glay brings us all the details in this report.
At its meeting held on Wednesday, February 25, 2026, the Council of Ministers adopted under draft legislation a bill aimed at protecting and promoting the national cultural heritage. The reform updates the 1990 law to reflect societal change and align with international standards. The new framework introduces recognition of intangible and underwater heritage, ensures compliance with UNESCO conventions, and strengthens sanctions against violations of literary and artistic property rights. The objective is clear: better safeguard and promote Togolese cultural heritage, support artists, and foster a dynamic cultural industry that enhances the country's attractiveness. Under decrees, 5 magistrates were promoted to the highest judicial rank in accordance with existing legal provision. In each communication segment, the Council reviewed the 2025 performance reform of the National Fund for Inclusive Finance. Since 2014, nearly 2 million loans have been granted, totaling 117.7 billion CFA francs with a repayment rate close to 95%. In 2025 alone, 34,006 loans were issued mainly to support income-generating activities, with a strong concentration in the Savannah region. The Council also authorized the establishment of a national committee for the restitution of cultural property, as more than 8,000 Togolese artifacts are currently listed in foreign collections. Another key announcement: the upcoming launch of a call for projects under the National Fund for Cultural Promotion to support artistic creation and production following the establishment of each governing bodies. Finally, the government reviewed progress in the maritime boundaries delimitation process with Ghana and reaffirmed its commitment to peaceful dispute resolution and the defense of Togo's national interests.
Togo's economy is showing strong momentum as the country closed the third quarter of 2025 on a particularly dynamic note. From industry, trade, services to construction, all indicators are in the green, proving that the country's economic engine is running at full speed. In the following report, Gabriel Ayena brings us precision of the figures, bringing renewed optimism to the population.
Freshly released figures from the National Institute of Statistics and Economic and Demographic Studies show a marked acceleration of Togo's economy in the third quarter of 2025. The rebound is evident. The Industrial Production Index, a key indicator of factor and mining activity, rose by 11% over the first 10 months of the year. This represents a significant turnaround compared to 2024, when growth stood below 4.2%. Extractive and manufacturing industries are driving this momentum, each recording growth of 7.8%. The energy sector also posted a 3% increase. Trade is equally dynamic. The turnover index, which measures the value of sales, surged by more than 19.1% year on year. Wholesale trade climbed by 21%, while retail trade, the sector closest to households, rose by 18.4%, signaling renewed consumer confidence. Other sectors posted remarkable performances. Health services expanded by 44.4%. Business support services such as security, cleaning, and equipment rental jumped by 34.2%. Transport grew by 10.2%, while construction rose by 14.8%, reflecting intensified public and private investment projects. According to the National Institute of Statistics and Economic and Demographic Studies, these indicators are the key components in calculating gross domestic product. Their sustained growth in the third quarter points toward a stronger overall performance for 2025.
And to ensure better understanding of the reforms and facilitate their effective implementation, the Togolese Revenue Authority brought together media professionals, strategic partners, and civil society representatives for a technical briefing on the flagship measures contained in the 2026 Finance Law. The session, held on Wednesday, February 25 in Chevie, aimed to present and explain the new tax and custom provisions introduced in the 2026 fiscal framework. Gabriel Ayana tells us more.
The outreach meeting aims to help local stakeholders better understand the new tax and customs measures introduced in the 2026 Finance Law. The goal is to improve comprehension of ongoing reforms and ensure their effective implementation. Chevie marks the final stop of the national tour organized by the Togolese Revenue Office. The session focuses on two key aspects: a detailed presentation of major innovations in the 2026 Finance Law and direct exchanges with participants to address concerns and clarify outstanding issues. Through this awareness campaign, the Togolese Revenue Office seeks to establish constructive management dialogue between economic operators and local government officials, while encouraging stronger collaboration to build a win-win partnership in support of local economic development.
Regional integration is no longer just a political ambition. It is an economic imperative. On the second day of the parliamentary seminar by the Economic Community of West African States, lawmakers moved beyond diagnosis and began focusing on concrete actions to make the African Continental Free Trade Area a tangible reality for West African citizens. Ahoifanu Chigan tells us more.
On the second day of the ECOWAS parliamentary seminar, discussions shifted from diagnosis to action. Lawmakers are now confronting a pressing question: how can West Africa move from political declarations on trade integration to tangible results for its citizens? Within the ECOWAS region, intra-community trade remained far below its potential. Despite protocols guaranteeing free movement, the reality on the ground tells a different story. Persistent administrative bottleneck at borders, multiple checkpoints, delays in custom clearance, corruption, and slow harmonization of standards. For businesses, particularly small and medium-sized enterprises, these constraints translate into higher costs, reduced competitiveness, and missed opportunities. It is in this context that the African Continental Free Trade Area emerges as a strategic lever. Designed to create the largest free trade area in the world by number of participating countries, the African Continental Free Trade Area aims to connect over 1 billion consumers across Africa into a single market. For ECOWAS member states, effective implementation could mean easier access to new markets, stronger regional value chains, and increased industrialization. But ambition alone is not sufficient. The sub-regional parliamentarians emphasize that the success of the African Continental Free Trade Area depends on concrete legislative actions, the removal of protectionist measures, and stronger oversight by national parliaments. They called for coherence between regional commitments and national policies in order to transform a fragmented economic space into a competitive and strategically positioned, capable trading bloc. For ECOWAS lawmakers, the message is clear. Integration is no longer an option. It is an economic necessity.
Leaders of media organizations have once again been sensitized on the professional standards required to distinguish accredited journalists from bloggers, activists, or informal commentators. The key requirements include obtaining a press card and proper accreditation to protect journalists and officially recognize their professional status. The initiative is championed by the High Authority for Audiovisual and Communication, HAC. Kwesi Glay.
Obtaining a press card and accreditation remains a fundamental requirement for journalists committed to professional standards. In an era where digital expansion blurs the line between professional journalists and content creators, these credentials serve as key tools for identification and protection. Media organization leaders were therefore reminded of the importance of the press card, a document that safeguards journalists in the exercise of their profession. The High Authority for Audiovisual and Communication, HAC, continues its outreach effort to promote adherence to professional journalism standards. A press card can only be issued to individuals who hold a professional journalism diploma or who possess a university degree complemented by 3 years of practical experience in media organization or a BTS Brevet de Technicien Supérieur with 5 years of professional experience in a press company.
Faced with growing pressure on natural resources, experts and officials from 6 countries of the Volta Basin are meeting in Lomé to examine and validate key deliverables shaping the basin's future. Organized under the Reward Project, the session aims to develop reliable tools to restore ecosystems, strengthen water management, and sustainably support communities living along the basin.
Media professionals regularly confront issues related to personal data protection to strengthen the national privacy framework and promote responsible journalism. The Personal Data Protection Authority conducted a sensitization workshop in Noche for media actors from the Maritime region and Greater Lomé. The session aimed to reinforce understanding of the national legal framework and best practices in personal data protection. Journalists were briefed on legal foundation, obligation, and preventive mechanisms. For the High Authority for Audiovisual and Communication, the initiative reinforces ongoing efforts to fight personal attacks and defamatory remarks within the media landscape. The National Awareness Tour will continue in the coming days with the upcoming stages in Atapame and Kara.
And our report was by Gabriel Ayena on training of media personnel on personal data protection. Moving on to other stories, faced with growing pressure on natural resources, experts and officials from 6 countries of the Volta Basin are meeting here in Lomé to examine and validate key deliverables shaping the basin's future. Organized under the Reward Project, the session aims to develop reliable tools to restore ecosystems, strengthen water management, and sustainably support communities living along the basin. Ahoifanuchugan has more details in this report.
The Volta Basin is one of the sub-regions most vital freshwater reservoirs. It supports agriculture, sustains fisheries, and plays a critical role in preserving biodiversity across West Africa. But in recent years, deforestation, land degradation, and the growing effects of climate change have increasingly weakened the basin's ecosystems, putting water resources and livelihoods at risk. Meeting in Lomé, stakeholders from the 6 West African countries sharing the basin are working to strengthen the protection of this shared ecosystem and water resources. The 4-day session organized by the Volta Basin Authority forms part of the Reward Volta River Basin Project, an initiative aimed at reversing environmental degradation trends within the basin. Around 20 experts are reviewing and validating reports corresponding to deliverables 2 and 3, while refining the draft of deliverable 4 to ensure technical consistency and regional relevance.
This workshop provides a platform for all the countries to come together, assess what's the ecosystem in the Volta Basin. Also, as part of this workshop too, it also provides us the opportunity to come together to assess a decision support system that all the countries are involved that we are developing so that it will assist us to manage the Volta Basin ecosystem.
By the end of the workshop, participants are expected to integrate a harmonized set of environmental decision-making indicators applicable across all basin countries. They also plan to adopt a clear roadmap to finalize the remaining work by May 2026. Through this meeting, member states of the Volta Basin reaffirm their commitment to curb land and water degradation, strengthen climate resilience, and ensure sustainable natural resources for the millions of people who directly depend on the river and its ecosystems for their livelihoods.
With support from the Greater Lomé Autonomous District, the NGO Ecosystem Nature Prop Ampro is rehabilitating its compositing platform and has received new transport equipment. The goal is to improve waste collection and optimize its processing to build a cleaner, greener, and more sustainable city. Awefano Chugan has more in this report.
Every day, tons of household waste are generated in urban centers. To improve waste management, the Ecosystem Nature Prop composting platform has been equipped with transport and waste treatment equipment provided by the Greater Lomé Autonomous District and the French Development Agency. This support will significantly enhance waste collection and transportation to the treatment site located in Bienvenue. Beyond infrastructure modernization, this initiative aims to improve living conditions, create green jobs, and promote a circular economy. Composting also contributes to reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Overall, the project seeks to reduce the volume of waste sent to landfill while producing natural fertilizer for agriculture. Ultimately, more than 4,000 farmers in the maritime region will benefit from high-quality compost, helping restore soil fertility. With this upgraded facility, household waste management is set to become more efficient and environmentally sustainable.
In Lomé, specialists in comprehensive sexuality education from several French-speaking African countries have gathered to learn from the Togolaise Association for Family Well-being, popularly known as the ATBF, on digital tools for youth sexual health education. The initiative aims to give adolescents online access to comprehensive and reliable sexuality education adapted to each country's realities. Awefano Chugan has more.
Inclusive access to sexual and reproductive health services for youth. Delegations from 12 French-speaking countries have gathered in Togo to draw inspiration from innovations developed by the Togolese Association for Family Well-being in Sexual and Reproductive Health. Over 3 days, participants are engaging in mutual learning and co-creation of innovative digital platforms. Togo has developed 2 key digital tools, the Info Ado Jeune mobile application and the atbf.org e-learning platform. Recognized as a best practice by the International Planned Parenthood Federation, these innovations provide comprehensive online sexuality education tailored to national context. The e-learning platform offers a secure space where young people can access courses and at their own pace, with many adolescents heavily engaged on social media, which often exposes them to misinformation. The initiative aims to provide accurate, credible information to promote responsible behavior. Registration is simple. Users access the platform, enter the link and complete the required information. The initiative represents a concrete response to the need of adolescents and young people, facilitating access to reliable services and adapted resources.
And that brings us to the end of today's bulletin. Thanks to my wonderful team and to you, cherished viewers, for watching. Stay tuned to our channel for more updates, and remember to do everything you do with love in your heart. Have a wonderful evening. See you next time. Goodbye.